Hi guys, it's Jessica. Today I'm going to be scrapbooking a one-page layout, and I'm using this photo of myself, which I'm not going to lie, feels really strange, but I will explain why as we get into the video. But to get things started, I did take this piece of black and white pattern paper. It's from the Mix and Collection right now from Close to My Heart, and I matted it on a piece of black cardstock, which you can't really tell because it's a really thin mat, and I've got it sitting on my Versa mat, but it is matted with a black piece of cardstock. And then I've just gone ahead and cut using some of my stitched hearts, thin cuts, and flowers and things of that nature. I just cut a whole bunch of different pieces out from various pattern papers. And now before I glue anything down, I want to add just a little smudge of color. So I've grabbed my Carolina ink pad and my foam blending tool, and I'm going to just, like I said, add a smudge of color behind where my photo is going to be. So this is, like I said, a picture of me, which I feel really self-conscious and awkward about. But I don't know about you guys, but when I scrapbook, they're, of course, pictures of my kids because they're for my kids. And, you know, my husband ends up in quite a few pictures, but I'm always the one taking the pictures. And so when I look back at my kids' scrapbooks, I rarely make an appearance. And so as weird as it feels to like scrapbook myself, I did have this random picture of a selfie that I'd taken last year, which I don't even usually even take selfies very often, but I did, and I had it printed for some weird reason. And I thought I'm going to go ahead and just scrapbook it, and maybe in my page talk about my love for scrapbooking, because I am sitting at my scrapbooking desk, and this is last winter. I was getting ready to hop on live on my Facebook group with my crafty friends and do a project live, and I just kind of stopped to take the selfie before I did that. And so I think I'm just going to make a page about me and my love of scrapbooking, and that's something that when my kids look back and they think about Mom, that they're definitely going to remember that that's something that I spent a lot of time doing and something that I loved. And so I don't know, you'll have to let me know, do you ever scrapbook, you know, just pictures of yourself? Maybe I need to kind of get over the weirdness of this and just do it more often. I'm sure that when they're older, my kids will actually really appreciate this, and they won't just have these books full of everyone in the family except for me. So I don't know. All right, so I'm going to take those hearts that I had cut out with my stitched hearts thin cuts, and I used, this is actually a 6x6 paper pack from Close to My Heart. It's called the Bright Stack. I'll link it down below. It's one of my favorites. I am almost out of it, and I absolutely love this stack. It just has some really pretty older papers in it, but they're sized down to fit that 6x6 ratio. And I just used scraps to kind of cut out a whole bunch of different hearts here. And then I did use a flower die cut as well. And so my thought was I'm going to have some vertical rows of hearts. And I did get inspired by this from a post on Pinterest from scrapbook.com, and it's a pretty simple layout. It's basically what you see here, where you have like a couple of vertical rows of hearts and then one photo over to the left-hand side. And so I thought that was simple enough to recreate. And right now on Facebook, if you are part of the Scrapbook Addicts Facebook group, they have quite a following. Their challenge for the month of February is to create a layout that is all about hearts. And so I thought that I would do this. I loved that post that I saw on Pinterest. And then, like I said, I had this random picture of myself, and I kind of was feeling like I needed to put myself in there somewhere. And so I thought that I would do this because, well, you know, you guys are here watching me on YouTube, and I'm a Close to My Heart maker, and the name that I use for my business is The Paper Heart, which is also the name of my YouTube channel. And so naturally, when I went to scrapbook this, I thought hearts, of course, they have to be paper hearts, and it just worked out perfectly for that February challenge over on Scrapbook Addicts on Facebook. And so that was kind of, like I said, the thought process and the inspiration behind all of this as it was coming together. So I will adhere these mostly off camera, so you don't have to watch me put tape runner on the back of them, but it was really simple to do. I just used my T-square ruler, and I lined it up at the 10, the 8, the 6, and the 4. I think actually went all the way over to 2. And so I did start to run out of hearts. You can see on those left 2 rows. And later I will take those off because I didn't really like them there. They were kind of interfering with my cluster of flowers. But yeah, I just kind of lined it up and then scooted my hearts underneath to make sure that everything was going on straight. Now, these are the flowers that I prepared, and I know I want to have them somewhere in a cluster around my photo, and I struggle with this, and I played with this for quite a while. I just couldn't make a flower work on top of the picture up at the top, and that had kind of been what was in my head, and so giving up on that took me a little while. Like even these blue leaves, these are cut out of Bluebird cardstock, and I just really thought that would be such a fun pop of blue on this page because that color does appear in some of those pattern papers. But I just couldn't make them work. And so I did spend quite a bit of time fussing with those flowers until I figured out an arrangement that I liked. And I decided that one of the things that was throwing me off was, like I said, those last 2 rows of hearts. They were in the way. And so I went ahead and pulled them off, and I did get a little tiny rip in one spot, but ultimately my flowers end up covering that. But I just grabbed my Rub and Remove eraser, and it took the adhesive right off the page. And so it didn't end up being a big deal to kind of pull those off. But now, like you can see here, I've just got that blank space underneath, which works so much better trying to put that cluster of flowers down. And the bright blue leaves don't make it, unfortunately. I really wanted them to, but I couldn't make it happen. So I'm going to pop some of these flowers up, these 2 pink ones, on foam tape. And I'm going to go ahead and start gluing things down, because otherwise I will keep moving these flowers around and messing with them. I just decide, Jessica, start putting some glue on it, and you'll just have to make it work once it's glued down. Some of it's glued down, and so that did work out for me. All right, and then I realized after I put a bunch of these flowers down and my photo was glued down, and I even had my foam tape on and everything, I was like, oh, you moron, you were going to sew on this page, because what I wanted was to have a strip of thread going down the middle of each of my rows of hearts. And so once I'm done sticking this down, you're going to see I'm like, oh, shoot, and I'm going to have to pull my photo off. And I pull a little bit of foam tape with it, but it ends up going back together just fine. So I just need to remove enough so that I have a clear way to poke some holes and do a little bit of sewing. Silly. That was like my main idea on this page, and I totally forgot about it. All right, so you'll see here I just kind of have gone through and poked some holes, and I used 4 strands of black embroidery thread and just sewed a couple of lines right through the center of all of those. And then I'll go ahead and start reassembling the things that I already had previously assembled. And yeah, there we go. And so now I am really almost done. What I do is pull out, I have a bunch of different stamp sets. As you know, being a close to my heart maker, I have several different stamp sets that have things to do with crafting and scrapbooking and whatnot, business related stamp sets. And so I've just stamped a couple of things from them to see what I can make work. That little create flag doesn't end up working. I do have on this stitched rectangle that I cut out, it says it's a good day to be creative. And I just kind of mess around a little bit with where to put that. And then I also have, it says hashtag close to my heart, because I am a close to my heart maker. And so I'm thinking I want to set that over one of the hearts, but I'm not sure where. Maybe coming out from the flowers. No, I'm going to end up putting it right here over top of this pink heart. And then, yeah, I think I'll just put my journaling down there in the bottom right corner. And like I said, that pink little banner doesn't end up making the cut, unfortunately. So I'll just save it for a different project. And then that's nearly it. I am going to stamp a couple of hearts here in a second. But yeah, I'm just going to put these little pieces down, and I don't know, except for, the sewing took a couple of minutes. This page came together pretty quickly. And yeah, I will put it in the scrapbook, and I'll feel a little weird about it. But I guess I need to kind of do something like this more often. As much as I love to look back at my children's scrapbooks and kind of think about how much they have changed and grown, what they looked like when they were little versus what they look like now, I am sure there will come a day where I will want to look back and think to myself, oh gosh, I look almost the same. Maybe my face definitely looks older and more tired, but my hair never changes. So I'm sure it'll be fun to kind of look back and do the same sort of thing that I do with my kids. So here I've just grabbed a tiny little heart, and I'm going to sprinkle it around my page with some of that Carolina ink, and I will add my journaling off camera, and that's the end. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you feel inspired, and if you are part of that Scrapbooks Addicts group on Facebook, I'd be curious to see what is your heart layout that you are going to do, and if not, join them, or just, make a heart layout for the month of February. And like I said, leave me a comment below. Do you scrapbook yourself? Because I still am feeling very awkward about this. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Happy crafting, and have an awesome day. Bye.